Our loyal viewers, we say thank you for always sticking to us. Today, my producer has decided to give us 5 minutes of your time. After we've done the discussion on the road tools, we'll open the phone lines for you to give us your comments. Just about 5, 6, 7 comments from you. So we'll open the phone lines after that discussion before we go for the first break. And then you tell us your own views based on the discussion, the reintroduction of the road tools, what you think about it. So it's a great package given to me by Oliver Lawson, my lead producer today. Thank you, Oliver. God bless you. But talking about that, let me also thank my guest for coming through. And he's a regular on the show. Let me give him the due respect because we're in Ghana month by introducing the Siabongna, and literally translated as the king of the caves of Sankana traditional area in the Upper West region. And I have the former member of parliament for Tema East, currently the newly appointed, is the chief executive for the Volta Aluminium Company of Avalco. Good morning to you as well. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Yourself?
Yes, please.
I missed you last week.
Yes, please.
I missed you last week.
I saw that.
But I was watching you on the touchline.
Thank you.
Doing your own.
I know, right?
Twists and all that. Good to be back again.
Good to see you again. Good to see you. I saw the green letter.
Thank you.
It was. Why is the letter always green? Your appointment letter was green.
It distinguishes it and other communications. Most of the communications are on white sheet of paper.
Very good.
But that is the uniqueness of the presidency.
Sabona. So how do you greet?
Seriously, I'm yet to pick some bits and pieces of the Dagaba language. And since 2019 April, when I was installed as Siambongna, according to tradition and the history of Sankana, let me take this opportunity to greet all your viewers.
Shall you look elegant?
And
I'm just watching you on the monitor.
And my chief, Mona, in Sankana and the traditional elders. Bernard is my kingmaker, including Joseph Yamin. You know, Yamin is a nephew to Bernard Mona.
Really?
Seriously. So they were part of my installation. So I say a big thank you to all of them. This beautiful smug I'm wearing was given to me as a gift by the Kwembeura na Ndefoso of Kwembe traditional area. In 2019, I represented the president to inaugurate the 2 Salaga district assemblies. And I paid him a courtesy call, and surprisingly, he gave me this beautiful smock. I wear it once in a blue moon. This is my second
time wearing it
because it's quite heavy, you know. So thank you so much because you are celebrating the Ghana month.
Yes,
I prefer to wear my colors.
And it's good that way. You're also representing the tradition of your area as well as Northern Ghana in general. Siabona.
Yeah. Next, before the end of the month, I'll dress the Ghana way, the Wulomo.
Oh well, last week we did the Ghana traditional.
Yes, I will come with the one to represent the Ghana.
All right,
where
great.
I'm from.
And on Friday too, we're marking the tradition representing Northern Ghana. We do understand that Northern Ghana has various traditions. So we have various dialects, languages that are spoken. The traditions and the preferences are different. But we'll pick 1 or 2 and do the representation on Friday. So we do encourage you for Ghana month this Friday. Stick with us. Then follow through what we'll give you on Friday. We have Malik Basintali. He's a deputy communication officer for the opposition NDC. He's a former presidential candidate is touring areas, asking the would-be delegates to choose him. That's John Dramani Mahama, and alongside a regular on the show is also there now, deputy spokesperson Beatrice Annan, legal partner Malik. Which area do you specifically come from in Northern Ghana?
I come from 2 places.
Okay.
I come from the Upper East and I come from the Savannah region.
Okay, great.
And I mean, listening to my big brother, Mr. Glover, Mr. Titus Glover, I feel inspired that he is representing my culture very well. We in the northern parts of the country see ourselves as one people, and that is why when you ask me, mostly where I come from, I just say I come from the north. We 5 northern regions, different culture, different representation, different dialects, but we appear as one people. And so let me just admonish my chief, the Sambona, my Sambona in the Upper West region, for representing us very well. And if I had an opportunity of recommending a linguist, I think the way you said la ilaha illallah, you serve as a better linguist. If you follow these young pastors on TV, when he's preaching, there's always a backup. And the person
has to.
Yes, and that makes it interesting. So, I mean, to lighten his kinship, your la ilaha illallah is solid. And you play a better role. And so, I mean, good morning to everyone.
Straight away, let's have some interactions. But many of you are watching us on stream, TV3 Ghana. Go watch us. And then also share. We have Ibrahim Sahid Babangida. Many of the times, these are not your real names, but we'll take it as it is. Kojo Asempa Furniture Works, Isaac Noham. We have Patrick Ngetia, Amisko Spelele, Kaswa, Bright Humado, Atokwamena GH, Robert Usi, and a slide number is also there. Well, as you get interactive, please let us know what you think. Share as well. And because, Titus Glover was a former deputy transport minister, we decided to start with the issue of the road tolls. And apparently, following his advice, of course, it was announced in the budget, they decided to peg it at certain rates. We want to realistically look at the road tolls that have been introduced. These new rates, are they realistic? But on the other side, if we should increase it, what will be its effect or impact on the industry? But these are the reactions we've had. We had some reactions from Kofi Kapito, who represent the the Consumer Protection Agency, as well as we have also Cecil Gabra with Top Tech, and these are their reactions. And then after that, we'll come to the Segbon Titus Glover, a former Deputy Transport Minister.
The decision to close the tolls was unnecessary, if you ask my opinion. If something is wrong, you find a way to fix it. You don't throw the baby out with the water. It was a political decision. I'm of the view that we Ghanaians, we cannot allow the government to go and borrow to come and fix our roads and expect the government not to charge the proper toll. How are they going to pay the loan back? I would only wish that if they bring the tolls back, the tolls should be done properly. I have a 4x4. I drive from Accra to Kumasi and I pay 3 cedis. And I expect good roads. Even if I'm asked to pay 5 cedis or 10 cedis, that is enough money for me to cry and say that I've paid realistic toll.
It is good, it is back because as a nation, it is tolls that are used to repair the roads. But again, are we going to see that accounts to say that it is really going to be used to repair the road? That's also one fact that I always ask myself. And this time I feel it should be an electronic system. And if you travel, we all see it. The system that is being used is the RFID technology, where you have your card close to the toll booth, and then you have the gate open for you to go.
So you, as a former Deputy Transport Minister, I'm sure you're familiar with some of these discussions. And I remember for many of the times when we wanted to introduce the National Towing Project, for example, I was a lead communication person for that project. You did a lot of stakeholder engagement and all that. If you look at the road tolls in themselves, their reintroduction, the rates, you take a look at the rates, for example. We have, they'll be on the screens. You see them. We have the approved 50 pesos instead of 1 cedis for 4x4. They have to pay 1 cedi, a 4x4 vehicle. Light buses, 1 cedi, mummy wagons, 1 cedi. And subsequently, you take a look at this and you look at how the cedi has also suffered against the US dollar, for example. Are we being realistic, Mr. Titus Glover?
Roland, thank you very much. And once again, good morning to yourself and Masit. And let me say that the two gentlemen who spoke, my big brother Capito and the other one, their concerns are well taken. And seriously, when you look at the toll, the fees that is being paid, the last time that it was increased, I recall, was during the days of Professor Mills. May he so rest in peace. At that time, I was driving a pickup, Tata pickup.
Okay.
And I was paying less than 1 cedi. So when they increased it straight to that 1 Ghana cedi. So from 2009, there has not been any serious increment.
Was it white?
It was a white Tata pickup.
I think I remember that.
Yeah,
we sat on the bonnet one time, Committee 19.
So since that time, I've not seen any realistic fees that has been paid till now. And you look at the number of vehicles that ply these are roads. It tells you that there's a lot that we need to do. Currently, as it is, I get livid when I see these foreign trucks from the ports that are driving through our roads all the way to their destinations without paying nothing. And the understanding of the suspension of the road toll was as a result of the yield levy that government felt we could have raking a lot of revenue so that we'll be able to take care of the maintenance of the road. Unfortunately, our expectation was shut down. The revenue that we're expecting from the yield levy could not be met, and for that matter, I'm sure that some consultations, some discussions have gone on that there's a need to bring back the road toll and to make sure that we're able to fix it well. I have traveled quite a lot in Americas, Canada, China, Indonesia, Europe. I've studied in England, my life, and these road tolls are carefully done. You know, the RFID automation that he talked about, very legit. That we need to look at it and do it well. There are a lot of people who, apart from essential services like the ambulances, the fire service, the police, the army, NADMO people, the rest of us, there's a need for us to pay the tolls. Then paying the rightful tolls, trust me, paying the rightful tolls. Because you expect a Land Cruiser to pay 1 Ghana cedis. Abba. It doesn't make it. So, for example, when you are traveling from here to Kumasi, you pay 1 Ghana cedis if you are in Teman. You pay 1 Ghana cedi here. When you get to after Amasaman, there's another toll booth there. You pay 1 there. Then you drive all the way to after Bunsu Junction, Osino. You pay 1 there. Then there's another one that you pay when you are entering Ashanti region. You also pay 1 there. So you pay almost about 3, at least 3-4 tolls before you get to Kumasi. When you are driving an exotic car, very expensive car, and you expect government to fix the road. And this country, people speak a lot. So therefore, if indeed we want to bring it back, the tolls, there's a need for us to look at it again. And yesterday I heard the chairman of the Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament, Kennedy Osenyaku, my colleague, saying that for him, he's not going to support this 1 Ghana cedis or 1 Ghana 50 pesos increment. As the chairman of that committee, he's not going to support it. And for that matter, it means that some work need to be done. On Asempa FM, I also heard the ranking member also speaking on these realistic tolls that we need to pay so that we'll be able to fix. Because all these monies are going to the consolidated fund. The chairman of the committee was saying that he would have loved that these road tolls monies, when they are collected, should not be lodged into the consolidated fund. But I disagree, because when you go to the Constitution in 176, at page 116, with your permission, let me quote 1161 A and B, and it says that there shall be paid into the consolidated fund subject to the provisions of this article, all revenues or other monies raised or received for the purposes of or on behalf of the government, any other monies raised or received in trust for or on behalf of the government, quote and unquote. So any money, all monies at all that is generated in this country must first be lodged into the consolidated fund. So his fear is that when they lodge all these monies, the finance ministry then will sit down and decide how much will go into the road fund, and he thinks that that thing need to be looked at. So seriously, I'm also in sync with that arrangement, that at least even if the finance ministry want to give some money to the road fund, it should be quite a sizable number so that we're able to maintain these roads. Again, when you look at, for example, I've not gone other places, but the Temamoto Way, the toll booths, few of them have been damaged.
Yes.
Because of road accident. They need to make it solid. They need to rebuild it again and make sure they protect it, to make sure that incoming vehicles does not run into these toll booths. Some speed ramps need to be put in front of the road so that they can slow down the vehicles that get reached to the toll booth. Then finally, I recall Honorable Makwata insisted that people with disability are made to man some of these toll booths, at least to create some jobs for them. So even if we are bringing them back, some consideration must be made to these people with disability as a first offer, so we'll be able to give them some busy and all that.
Malik, have we missed an opportunity? Because first, the way the tolls were scrapped, according to industry players, were untoward. Have we missed an opportunity in which perhaps of all the promises by the vice president of a concrete road, realistic ways by which we can construct roads, etc., to have better managed this, brought in PPP arrangements where we can have private sector come and play a part? For example, if we have on the stretch from Kumasi to etc., sections that could have been told, do it like they do in the developed countries. Have we missed a big opportunity with this?
Roland, I don't know why we want to be very quick in discussing the privatization or public-private partnership with regards to road tolls. That wasn't the main issue with regards to a suspension. And I'm
even talking about the roads themselves.
Absolutely, to discuss the confusion that has existed within this particular government. My problem has to do with the fact that it is sometimes a little charitable to be highly incompetent. It is sometimes a little charitable to be, try to be very smart. But once you have a government that is reckless and confused, in addition to its incompetence, then it becomes entirely unpardonable. And that is the point we've been making, and we've repeatedly made with regards to this toll issue. First of all, you had a tolling system that could raise 74 million per annum. Then you had a finance minister who came on board and gave us three main reasons why he intended suspending the tolling system in this country. His first reason was that the tolling system in this country caused traffic on our highways. His second reason was that the tolling system in this country caused pollution. And the third reason was that the government had intended introducing a 1.5% electronic tax on Momo transactions. These were the three main reasons he gave us. And so, in governing any nation, it is just important that you exercise good faith in whatever you are doing, at least for morality's sake. First of all, has traffic been reduced on our highways? No. Nothing has been changed. Because if you intended, if your solution to curing a traffic system in this country, or a traffic congestion system in this country, was that you will want to suspend the tolling system in this country, then once you suspend it, you should find alternatives to securing the matter. An example, during the era of the NDC, when there was high traffic congestion in this country, President Mahama decided to create alternate roads. And one of such roads was the Bema Camp Road. There were so many, the Ajirgano bypass was also brought into force. And so, people who usually used the Okonglo stretch found alternative routes to get to their destinations, especially people who lived within the East Legon enclave. And that was his solution to solving the matter of traffic congestion in this country. Another thing he did was by introducing overheads in this country. And we had the circle interchange. We had so many other interchanges. That was meant to solve our challenge with regards to traffic congestion. But a lazy and confused government, like this particular government, felt that its only resolution to traffic congestion on our streets was one, by abolishing the toll system. And many experts spoke about it. Today, you are bringing back a system you claimed caused traffic on our streets. Is that to mean that you are only trying to bring back a traffic congestion system on our roads? Because nothing has been done with regards to that. The second reason was that tolling system caused pollution on our streets. And I was surprised that how can monies you take from, vehicles, or monies you sit down to collect from vehicles, cause pollution in this country? How does that pollute our environment? But this was some warped logic. These were the explanations, very flawed explanations, given to us by the finance minister and the roads minister. And there were lots of people who simply did not understand the bearing behind that particular policy. But we told the Ghanaian people that this was a very populist policy. This was one of the usual, policy name callings. This was one of the usual confusions. This was one of the usual Trojan horses being exhibited by the government of the day, and there was a real intention to why they wanted to do this. Today, the question we ask is, has pollution been reduced in this country? Why the reintroduction? Will the reintroduction not continuously pollute our environment again? The third reason they gave us, and I come to why we called this particular policy a populist one, and it was simply a Trojan horse. One, you said you were going to introduce an electronic mobile money system. We are paying. People are paying. We chastised it. The government defended it, the e-levy system. The government defended it. The government told us it was the safest and secured way of taxing our already taxed income. People understood at a point in time because we felt that the tolling system was going to be taken off, and then we're now going to move into an electronic taxation system. What has happened? We are still paying e-levy. So why the reintroduction of the taxes at 100% increment rate? Because those who used to use saloon cars were paying 50 pesos. You have cancelled that system. You scrapped it off for more than 1 year now. Today, you are bringing it back at a double rate, which meant that revenue that was supposed to accrue last year has been added on to what they are going to do this year. And in 1 year, we are going to achieve what
somebody should be responsible for this.
Somebody must be responsible.
Should be answering.
Somebody must be answering questions with regards to this level of confusion, because you have caused huge financial losses to the state. And that brings me to the point of the number of people who lost their jobs. The government told us that they were going to realign and reappoint some of these people who were working within these toll fraternities. And
especially those,
for the love of God, if you be insensitive and wicked to any crop of individuals, please, not to the disabled. These were people who were sitting in these facilities. These were people who were taking tolls from drivers, and these were people whose livelihoods depended on the tolling system in this country. One day they woke up. I remember that TV3 played footages of people who came to work only to be told
very abrupt.
Absolutely, only to be told that the tolling system had been cancelled. And I saw a man who sat in his wheelchair and was weeping. And
Malik,
an insensitive finance minister.
How does that tell you about the competencies that had been questioned at the time about the roads minister, his ability to be able to ideally have forecasted that the decision, one, was not good for the industry. Two, the finance minister was not making the best choice as far as the tax handles that would needed to have been done to raise revenue.
One of the biggest crimes in this country is not solely corruption, but one of the biggest crimes is causing financial loss to the state. And this is what somebody has engaged in this country. No other person than the finance minister and the roads minister. You have decided to subject the tax net of this country to torture, because a whooping 74 million that would have been accrued in previous years to support in the construction of roads in this country had been neglected. And let me tell you, there are two main things that used to finance our road fund and the road system in this country. One was the taxation of our petroleum cost build-up, where you have to pay a certain amount to the road fund. The second was the tolling system. And this was a corridor that generated huge sums of money to, fixing our roads in this country, reconstruction, realigning, and whatever, so far as it had got to do with the road network in this country. But you decided to subject that to torture. And I believe strongly that no matter what it takes, somebody must be standing trial for causing huge financial loss to this country. The second point were the number of people who had been left ajar. The number of workers who had been working around these facilities. And mind you, I am privy to the fact that people who were working, even around these toll booths, were paying taxes to the government of the day. People went to them, people collected huge sums of money, people had their shops and whatever, which meant that the finance minister had stated that productivity was going to be increased as a result of this. Productivity ended up being reduced because all these people who used to pay huge taxes to the government of the day had been taken off their jobs, and taxation or taxes were being paid to the government of the day again as a result of this reckless decision. And so, Johnny, I feel that, look, the government has exhibited high incompetence in this. The government has exhibited bad faith in this. The government has exhibited recklessness in this particular policy. And I will not go into discussing whether, the amounts of money tolls had not been increased over a period of time. What I believe strongly is that it is either the e-levy is scrapped off or the tolling system does not return again. And then lastly, my very good brother made mention of the fact, and he has attested, that on his way home, he will find out that many of these toll booths have been damaged. And that is because everybody had left them to the mercy of the weather. Are you aware that in the reintroduction of this policy, the taxpayers' money is going to be used in reconstructing all these facilities again? The taxpayers' money is going to be used in renovating all these facilities again. And mind you, I know that somebody sitting somewhere who will be interested in this particular chop, and that is why they would go back into it. The government will spend huge sums of money renovating these facilities again as a result of their own confusion, their own incompetence, and their own recklessness in this particular activity.
Look, how do we need to make sure that this reintroduction alongside comes with some means of policy initiative that would enable us partner with the private sector to re-engineer our roads? Because I'm told that if you go to the more developed countries, sometimes certain roads are given to certain entities over a period of time, and so the tolling system is in such a way that there's some level of agreements. You maintain the road, at the same time you are tolling it, the government gets its share, and you are aware of the PPP arrangement, for which enables roads to be better constructed.
Roland, I really admire your style as to how you want us
to discuss this,
to resolve the problem of this tolling system, and therefore any misgivings about the public going forward. What do we do? And sitting here and listening to Basintali as opposition, of course, even though I don't falter him, his style and the attack on government and all these invectives that is hurling on government, I feel a bit uncomfortable. To say that Mahama, which Mahama are you talking about? Which one of them? Which of Mahama is he talking about?
Which of the Mohammeds do you know?
Which I don't want to know.
Which of the Mohammeds do you know?
No, I want to know which of them is he
No,
talking about?
I don't know which one you want to address, because we had Captain Mahama, we had President Mahama. Which of them? Are you talking about the God of Infrastructure?
Please.
Are you talking about the Commissioner
I'm asking
General?
Which of them? Is it?
Oh, you're talking about the military
Mahama, the one who
Which
took
of them?
the Ford bribe,
Oh,
who said
that
he
has to
preferred
do with
Toyota cars to
tolling system.
Please, we
That
know
has to do with
him.
tolling system.
And he said what? Because Mahama did the overheads, overpass, like the circle interchange. That amount that could have done 2-3 different types of overheads in this country, over $270 million. Is that what Basintali is talking about? We are dealing with a problem on hand. Now, government believes that the yield levy that we all believe that will have raked in some money, our expectation has been dashed. Therefore, he wants to introduce the tolling system on our roads. I see nothing wrong about this. Totally, I see nothing wrong. Because your
why did you take it off the first time?
Simple. Please. The point is that is why I'm saying that. The calculations that they did, the expectations that they had, that the yield levy will have raked in more money, that will have taken hold of the monies that are coming from the tolls on the motorways. That is why we took it off. Do you understand? But sitting back and realizing that the revenue stream of the e-levy, the expectation has fell short, and for that matter, there's a need for us to look around again, going back and see what we can do and do it well. And the question that you asked me, why are we not involving other people to make sure that they'll be able to manage the road toll very well, they'll be able to maintain the road very well? I'm all for it.
Construction,
I'm all for it.
Let's say,
because in the 2023
build,
budget,
operate, transfer,
the finance minister did mention something, that some roads need, that new roads that are going to be constructed will be tolled. You understand? So for me, even if that one is under consideration, yet to look at other roads that are going to be constructed, then you put a toll on it, because you cannot go and take a loan to construct a road and allow people to plan on it freely. Of course, you need to put a toll on it so that you can take back the money for the investment that you have made into it. So the existing one that we have, there's a need for us to maintain portions of it. For example, when you are coming, once a while, you see some asphalt being heaped in the whole manholes or potholes on the motor, when you, especially for the
that even creates an uneasiness.
You understand? Between the abattoir area, be huge, they come and fill temporarily, and as the vehicle drive on it, it wears off again. You know, so clearly we need to look at it again and see what rate do we think it's appropriate for us to charge. Then the public must see that something is being done with the monies that is collected for these tolls. So for me, I'm all for it. That's, we are bringing back the road tolls. As at 2009, at the time of Professor Mills, I was driving a pickup, a Tata pickup. It was 1 Ghana cedis, no increment at all. No increment at all. So from 2009 until 2023, how many years now? Is it about 14 years? Yes, about 14 years now. And we have maintained 1 Ghana cedis all this while. So I want us to sit, and the Select Committee on Roads and Transport, I really admire what both leaders, the ranking and the chairman, are talking about. That. Let's sit down and look at what
because these rates are unrealistic.
It is totally too low. It is too low, and see what we can do. I have seen most motorcycles. They drive through, they don't pay. Because the boom barrier.
But you don't have to blame motorcycles. So for those who use the 4-wheel drives and all that, it means that you have the money to pay it. And then also you make sure that the maintenance is done. And it's what we've lost the plot.
Everybody needs to pay. It doesn't matter when you are riding a bicycle. If so long as you ply on the road, the rule is that you need to pay something. Why do you ride through it and off you go? It's not the best. So they should take their time and look at the various vehicles, what we are supposed to pay. And I believe that some education also need to be done, and let the people know. We should go to, when I was in the ministry, for example, during the festive seasons on these road accidents and stuff, we'll go to the GPRG terminals and go and speak to them. So these rates that we want to pay, I want to see some advocacy being done.
Well, the refrain is that we certainly have lost the plot. A plot for which, if you look at the policy direction for which we're collecting these tolls, how contractors are owed in excess, I'm told, over 12 billion. At the end of the day, collecting these small amounts, and the promises of roads that have been built and for which do not reflect on the ground.
Roland, I concede humbly that there's a lot of work need to be done. Some road contractors are still
not some, a lot of them.
I'm saying,
and you know many of them.
2017 to the time I left office in January 2021, a lot of these contractors have been paid, but some are still hanging.
Then you haven't spoken to the road contractors.
What I'm saying is that this is not in my ministry. I was in transport.
Yes.
Do you understand? But what I know is that monies have been paid to some, and there are still arrears that need to be cleared. So we need some of these monies that will be able to generate, apart from the maintenance, how we can pay these outstanding debts that will
Roland.
Look, it looks like the plot has been lost.
No. What we are failing to understand, okay, is that this is coming as an additional cost to what everyone's income in this country, especially the drivers, people driving.
But has to be introduced now.
One, you introduced an e-levy system. You claimed there was a substitute to our tolling system. That is enforced. We are paying about 1.5% of every transaction made on, our mobile money wallets. We are paying about 1.5%. Somebody who earns 1,000 Ghana cedis will pay this 1.5% on his already taxed income, and will have to squeeze part of it in paying tolls on our roads again. So the argument here doesn't lie as to the amount of money we are going to pay. And I've seen that Mr. Glover is trying so hard to draw attention to the fact that it hasn't been increased over a period of time. But the argument here is that this is coming as an additional tax on our already taxed income in the electronic mobile transaction system, in our income taxation system, and all other taxes that burdens our already mega income in this country. And so anybody who works from Tema, who works in Accra and has to drive all the way from Tema to Accra every day will have to pay about 1 Ghana cedis, on his saloon vehicle. Will have to pay 1 Ghana cedis on his saloon vehicle every day when he commutes this particular street. And then my worry in this particular matter is that you decide to set your own confusion in this particular exercise. You decide to appear in so much, or you decide to exhibit bad faith in this particular policy, because you come to tell us one thing today and you do another thing within a year after, and somebody sits here to say that has been so reckless, that has been so insensitive, that has been so incompetent. And Mr. Global has a problem with it. Then he quickly says, which of the Mahamas are we talking about? Is it the Mahama? I'm speaking about a Mahama who will not fly an 18,000 pound private jet an hour. I'm speaking about a Mahama who constructed more interchanges than any government in this country. I'm speaking about a Mahama who constructed more roads than any government in this country. I'm speaking about a Mahama who constructed more airports, renovated the biggest facility, like the Kotoka Terminal 3 in this country. That is the John Mahama I'm speaking about, and not that propaganda Mr. Glover wants to engage in. We are speaking about a reckless policy that has burdened, that has affected our tax nets in this country. We are speaking about a high causing of financial loss to this state, especially in renovating these facilities. You know how much it costs to even buy paint, to paint this abandoned facility. And many of them have collapsed. Are you also aware that as a result of the neglect of these toll booths, they became hiding grounds to criminals? I am privy, to a toll booth on the Techiman stretch, that has been used, by armed robbers ever since this tolling system had been cancelled. And many people have been robbed there, because you know that when you get to that particular toll system, even on the Tema motorway, your speed will definitely reduce, because you have to gauge in moving through, this particular corridor. And as a result of this, there have been high robbery rates at this particular point. And then we speak about this, and Mr. Glover thinks that we should engage in very gutter propaganda, and somebody took this, and somebody... that was the correlation
so we're
to this
encouraging
particular argument. I am saying that somebody must stand trial. I am saying that somebody must account, and the Parliamentary Select Committee will definitely interrogate this matter, and somebody must account for causing huge financial loss to this particular country. If not now, any time the NDC assumes office, this particular policy will be investigated.
Well, we do encourage you. We're going to put the phone lines. We want to just have 5 minutes of your views, and then on this very policy of the reintroduction, how you think as a viewing public, perhaps the whole initiative should have been managed, the taking off of the toll in the first instance, and then now reintroducing it. So the numbers are on your screen. So join us now. Let us know what you think, and then also get onto social media. Let us know what you think as well. A couple of you are now also sending messages. For example, you're saying Amadou Abdullah Aziz says, now that many people are saying the road tolls are too low and the government is happy, when you introduce another levy and it is high, should you understand and reduce it? Well, Evans Blaze says very soon these people will charge talking fee. And he says this is cluelessness. And Albert Kokuvi Gardner says gutter politics, and this is nauseating. We have to make sure that we undertake roads that are cost effective. David Reck says, Roland, how much would it cost a Ghanaian to reconstruct the toll booth? it is evil on the part of government. And so we encourage you, just make sure you share your views with us. And we're having 5 minutes of your calls, or taking about 5 calls, and then we'll get on. We have Richard from Bato. Richard, good morning.
Good morning, Roland.
What's your own view on this reintroduction?
It's a very bad decision by the government.
Why?
Because a lot of people advise this government not to take that toll booth out. They should think through it, but they refuse. And now let's analyze this thing. We are now coming to reconstruct those toll booths, paint it, and now look for people to come and manage it back. It's going to be another burden on the existing coffers. The government is not already having money. So I think our leaders should put politics aside and think through, listen to expertise before they take decisions. They shouldn't put politics and populist things above nation interests. They should think about the country, the interest of the country first. Now you're bringing it back. What happened to the e-levy? What happened to the e-levy? Is it going to be scrapped or is it going to be maintained? Good morning.
Okay. Again, we encourage you. The numbers on the screen. Please make sure that you call your views on the reintroduction of the toll booth. And Mr. Glover, at what point do we have to invite or look at, as a country, a national plan towards the way we do redevelopment of our roads? PPP arrangement, etc. You have an electronic tolling system, and you know that it's an initiative between a certain consortium or a special purpose vehicle with the ministry, and this also goes on, at least an investment that is worthwhile on their returns.
Let me quickly correct this
erroneous impression
created by Basin Tally.
What was the impression?
That John Mama constructed more roads than anybody. And it is very important because this
Hold on, we have Patrick from
is a
Tema.
very
Patrick.
important platform.
Patrick.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, please. Let me have your view.
Yes. All right. So I just want to ask honorable former MP, what is the worth of the roadworthy that we pay? What is the purpose of that money? If that money cannot be used to help renovate or build roads, then there's no sense in bringing up again the road tolls.
What's your suggestion?
We pay. So what I'm saying is that once we are paying the roadworthy, we should focus on generating money from the roadworthy and use that money for the roads. The toll booth is nuisance to us. There's no need to bring them back.
Okay.
It's terrible. If you look at our roads, we don't need the toll booth.
So you are saying that it should be incorporated.
Electronic one.
It should be incorporated in the roadworthy that we pay annually.
That's all. So once you pay, you have your RFI, which is linked to the card. Whenever you pass there, it will be deducted. Once it is exhausted, you refill. But the point is, once you are paying the roadworthy, it should be incorporated. We don't need the toll booth over there. It's nuisance.
Okay, that's your view. Okay, so the numbers on your screen. Let's also know, we'll take 3 more calls before. And you were saying what?
From 2009 to 2016, Ghana Highways Authority, the length of roads that they constructed under them, 581 kilometers. 2017 to 2022.
Are you reading from what was
from the
shared
Ministry of Roads and Highways
recently?
That was sent to Parliament.
Okay.
1,505.72. Department of Feeder Roads, 29 to 2016, 1,613. 2017 to 2022, 7,112. Then Department of Urban Roads, 2009 to 2016, 2,442 kilometers. Then we did 3,357. Then he also talked about interchanges. They've done more interchanges than anybody. Kwame Nkrumah interchange, the one they did use of $270 million, that could have constructed about 2-3 more interchanges.
Who said they can construct?
He said it. He said it. They said it. They constructed.
I have Emmanuel Opoku from Wase Kropon. Please hold on. Hold on to that slide. Emmanuel Opoku.
Yes, please.
Good morning to you from Wase Kropon. Your own views on this reintroduction.
Yeah. Please, I want to know. Now, Mr. Titus Glover, at your studio, at what time is he going to disagree with his government? Because after all, when this thing was cancelled, this man was in support. Today too,
Me.
He is in support and seriously defending. In fact, I find it difficult, even if it is your government and something goes wrong, at least, for the respect of the people. In fact, the opportunity that I have this morning, I see it as a bigger opportunity and therefore have to conduct myself. In fact, I don't know. So they have to defend everything. Do they have to defend everything? And then they jump quickly, Mahama. What is the name of Mahama for reintroduction of the Route 2? And this one to Mahama has to come in. If Mahama will collect only 1/4 though, and then he all the money that he got to do everything, that we all see. I think Nana should also go and take at least one Land Cruiser and leave Ghanaians alone and use our money that we are taking. Okay, over 475 billion Ghana cedis.
So your view is that your view is that more could have been done.
Please, I'm listening to you.
So your view is that more could have been done instead of just defending everything. That's your view.
You two agree with me. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think you also agree with me.
All right. Well, so you were on a trajectory.
Then on the interchanges, the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, Ring Road flyover, Kaswa interchange, Gifford Road, Airport Hills. The Pukwase interchange that they started. All right, it was a three. What do you call it?
And then you came to make it 4.
Make it 4.
But the funding was secured by the
Temamoto Way Phase 1, Obecheblamte Phase 1, that has all been completed. Temale interchange, East Lengo underpass, Suhum, which Kukufo started, and it has been lying there all over. They couldn't finish it. We have come to finish it. Now, Nungwa interchange is ongoing.
But they secured funding for some of the projects you're talking about.
Nungwa interchange is ongoing. Ajiringa are ongoing. They started though and they left it. The PTC interchange, the Sunday Wadru one, the Flower Pot ongoing from.
But I'm saying that for many of these projects that you say, it was secured under the either Mills, John Mahama government.
So we should left it.
No,
like
but the
that.
way you
when it's a loan,
you equate it to be
please when it's a loan that has been procured you are using it to work and you are paying those debts. They say you get debts for the country.
If you equate it
do you understand?
To be an achievement under the Nando government, everybody should find a problem with it because the transactions and then the loans were not secured under.
I know they secured the funding.
So what are you
we
saying?
came and added some to make sure that.
So what are you saying?
So what I'm saying is that
they secured the funding, right?
I have no problem there.
Okay. And the number of the projects that because I have the document you're reading for, I have it too. So they secured many of these funding.
Like
we went to cover them in Parliament as well.
Which of them?
So at the end of the day, if construction took place under the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, but then the Minister of Roads does a compilation and says it is an achievement of the Nana Addo government, that's problematic. Say that it's a continuum based on a secured funding from the John Dramani Mahama government. I think it makes the politics more sanitized.
Roland Walker.
Yes, please.
I've agreed with you.
I have Abdul Rahman. You hold on to with that. Abdul Rahman.
Yes, please, Roland.
Where are you calling from?
Tamale, please.
Oh, Tamale. Decibel.
Nah.
Okay, great. Now, please let me know what you think. I was just arguing with Mr. Titus Glover that many of the achievements in the road sector he was saying about interchanges, the funding was secured under the John Mahama government. I know we were arguing about it though. But what's your view about this reintroduction and how we need to make it more sanitized?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that it was very wrong in the first place for the minister to abolish the road tools or to suspend it, as he mentioned earlier. Yeah. So it was wrong.
Okay.
But it is not bad for him to accept that they made a mistake. They should apologize to Ghanaians and then bring back the road tools, letting us understand that our expectation, what we thought, and the advice you people gave us earlier, we undermined your suggestions, and we are being hit by it. So we want to bring back the road tools. So we expect some apologies from the people. I mean, the ruling government. And then I think the minister should be sanctioned. The minister should be sanctioned. Because you can't just come out and say, look at the amount of money being lost. Just the number of the 1 year they have suspended the exercise or the road tolls. Look at the heavy trucks that are destroying our roads day in, day out. Burkina Faso, our neighboring countries, they also ply the roads. Are they paying? No. So these are the heavy trucks that are ply on the roads, and they are destroying the roads day in, day out. Okay. So what are we doing about that?
All right. Thank you very much.
I don't agree also that the road tolls should be incorporated to the roadway. No.
Okay.
If you do that, are you going to, administer roadway to the neighboring countries, the vehicles that are also plying our roads? I think that it should be open. Anybody who uses the road should be paid, and the minister should be called to order.
Right. So you were saying something. For example, thank you. That's our last call, though, Mr. Titus Glover. For example, Amos Apudei says, so in Ghana now, what's our goal? What's our KPI? A government person just wakes up and all they do is to defend, but there needs to be a master plan for government, like the Marshall Plan that was developed. In the US, they have a plan. In Dubai, they have a plan, and that is why they are developed. What's the plan?
I think that in the beginning of our discussion, I did say that it was quite unfortunate that the road tolls were suspended, but the reason for the suspension was the understanding that the yield levy is going to rake in more money, so that we use the yield levy money to maintain our roads. Do you understand? Unfortunately, the expectation of the revenue for the yield levy, we all know, has fallen. Shut down, because the revenue that is coming.
The criticism is that the minister was
is not the best. Therefore, there's a need for us to come back. I concede all the words being expressed by the public. They've called it the foolings, the way they are speaking. I'm all for it. Okay. But in a way, let me concede that going forward, we need to have a look at it again and to make sure that we don't repeat what has happened. Now, we need money to build our roads, to maintain our roads, to make the roads more trouble, avoid more accidents on the road and all that. The fees that we are paying, you and I know that it is not realistic. Therefore, what do we do to make sure we have quite a sizable amount of money that we can use to pay part of our debts to these road contractors? Somebody did say something that you asked me, why can't we use the roadworthy certification as a way of... There are two distinct ministries, Ministry of Transport and Ministry of Roads and Highways. They are two different. A friend was telling me that in America, every year they renew their number plates. Every year they renew their number plates. And that is what they use in raising money. The ideas are enormous that we can look at it going forward to see what we can do to make money to
Roland,
develop.
first of all, this argument of who constructed more roads can be solved in two forms.
You also have a figure?
Yeah, the first one, I don't have a figure. I'll give you references. Okay. The first point is to ask the public to look within their communities and then, distinguish. They will be able to compare who constructed better roads within the surroundings or not. But the second one is very important, and that has to do with the budget statements as presented in Parliament. If you take the 2010 budget, okay, let me limit it to that. On paragraph 362, paragraph 365, and paragraph 370, you would find the total kilometers of roads, okay, that had been constructed in that particular paragraph at the time. And so you can do that for 2010, 2011, 2012, okay? And then you start from President Mohammed's administration, that's 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2016. Then you have the total kilometers of roads done. I'll send you a docket, okay, to have references to these particular things. Then you start within the administration. So the NDC, under President Mohammed alone, did 8,108 kilometers of roads, and there were three segments of roads that were constructed. We had trunk roads, we had feeder roads, and we have urban roads. These three portions of roads, okay, under the NDC's 8-year administration, we had done 15,548 kilometers of roads. Now take the 2018-17 budget, 18, 19, 20, and 2021. I'll give you reference paragraph numbers. The NPP has done a mega 6,453 roads. And what interests me the most was the fact
10,
that that's surprising. And because in their own tracker, they launched a tracker and they asked us to track. let me read this. This is the Savannah region. What? Read this. What's that?
Okay.
What was that? That's minor. They said listen. They said minor pothole filling. So since when did filling a pothole or filling potholes on our roads become kilometers of roads construction?